Chapter 1671, Life and Mask. Chapter 1671, Life and Mask. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Snap. Fong Yuan snapped his fingers once again. The surroundings immediately started moving again from the motionless state. That merman couple continued to walk forward while holding hands. Amidst the haggling at the stall, the saliva spit landed on the customer's face, but he did not realize it. The small dog's 3 legs landed on the ground, it smoothly moved past the blue-scaled merman and continued to pass nimbly through the crowd of legs. Xia Lin took everything in with surprise and curiosity. This was too magical. Master Chu's methods are truly powerful. This is probably a rank 5-time path killer move. Xia Lin guessed. Plop. That male Gu master, who Xia Lin had collided into, fell down to the ground and even affected the person behind, creating a small chaos. "You are so big, don't you know how to walk?" Someone scolded. Sorry. The well-built male Gu master politely apologized. This was, after all, the sacred city of the mermen. Meanwhile, the people in this paradise were less irritable than in the 5 regions. "I was walking properly, how could I trip? Strange." The male Gu master looked puzzled as he quickly stood up and moved with the crowd. Xia Lin apologized softly while gazing at the receding figure of the male Gu master. However, she felt a bit of joy like that of a prankster. Just as she was about to criticize herself, her hand was grabbed by Fong Yuan. "Follow me." Fong Yuan dragged her to the lion dance team. The lion dance team was stunned at first before dancing even more joyfully. The accompanying music was immediately raised. "We have all the characters now, haha." One dancer laughed heartily. "You know how to dance, right?" Fong Yuan smiled and moved his legs. He was playing the role of the filial fisherman. His movements were subtle and natural, having their own beauty. The surrounding people immediately cheered and hooted. Fong Yuan followed the crowd while dancing towards Xia Lin. "Your turn." Fong Yuan's voice was secretly transmitted to Xia Lin's ears. Xia Lin's heart was beating loudly from nervousness. Despite her practicing this play often when she was a child, she had never performed before a large crowd. She began to dance with stiff movements. Fong Yuan laughed as he took her hands and led her. He secretly used wisdom path methods. Xia Lin immediately started feeling nimble. All kinds of dance postures of this play surfaced in her mind with extreme clarity. The two sang and danced and moved along with the crowd. The lion dance team was wearing colorful costumes and strange-looking masks. There were also some who jointly acted as an enormous golden sea lion. They attracted attention wherever they moved. And as the male and female protagonists of the team, even more eyes were focused on Fong Yuan and Xia Lin. Xia Lin was extremely tense at the start, but the more she danced, the better and more confident she felt. She was immersed in the joyful atmosphere, forgetting about the injustice she suffered as cheers, shouts, and whistling filled her ears. Even when Xia Lin made some mistakes in her movements, there was only kind laughter. The crowd continued to move. Some left the lion dance team while some joined. Unknowingly, Xia Lin started laughing brightly. An unprecedented level of happiness which she had never felt before in the sacred city filled her heart. She was immersed in this happiness, unable to extricate herself from it. At the same time, she felt fear that this was not real. "It truly is like I am dreaming." Xia Lin's heart was filled with emotions, her gaze never leaving Fong Yuan. "Time to leave." Suddenly, Fong Yuan's movements changed. He dragged Xia Lin away from the opera team and walked to the side of the street. Xia Lin was caught unprepared and got pulled directly into Fong Yuan's embrace. She bumped into Fong Yuan's chest. A strong manly smell entered her nose. She quickly held the mask that had almost fallen down, hiding her reddened face. "Here." Fong Yuan moved quickly while pulling her, walking into an alley. It was another lonely alley with dim lighting and the stench of garbage. Fang Yuan released Xia Lin's hand and quickly walked ahead. Xia Lin immediately felt an empty feeling as she followed behind. The two moved in the long alley, one in front and another in back. Fang Yuan did not utter a sound, the alley echoing his monotonous footsteps. The sounds from the rowdy street became softer and softer as they moved further into the alley. A lonely and cold feeling pervaded Xia Lin's body and heart. The previous happiness and joyful feelings started disappearing from Xia Lin's heart. Gradually, worries began to find her once again, and her previous depression began to surge. Xia Lin wanted to find some topics to talk with Fang Yuan, but Fang Yuan had been moving ahead without even turning his head back. The oppressive atmosphere made Xia Lin not dare to casually speak. Finally, they reached the exit of the alley. The street here, although not as lively as the previous, was also filled with crowds and was boisterous. Fang Yuan suddenly stopped and turned towards Xia Lin. Have you thought it through? Xia Lin was stunned. Thought what through? Fang Yuan smiled, pointing at the mask Xia Lin was wearing. Do you want to wear it to cross the street or do you want to walk in the crowd showing your own face? Xia Lin was stunned again. Fang Yuan continued, I took off my mask when I entered the alley, but you are still wearing it. Why? Do you feel ashamed? Do you feel afraid of looking at people with your face? Worried that if you confront life, you will lose the happiness from earlier? A series of questions caught Xia Lin unprepared and unable to reply. After a while of silence, she seemed to have understood something as she took down the mask, revealing her face. Master Chu, I understand your intentions, thank you, I truly thank you. I am only an ordinary mermaid. Fang Yuan stretched out his hand, interrupting her. I have said it before, your current situation is largely because of me, I need to compensate you for this. Master, what are you saying? You have shown enormous kindness to me by gifting me Gather Oil Gu. You don't owe me anything at all, in fact, it is I who owes you everything. Xia Lin quickly said. That is how you interpret it, not me. Fang Yuan shook his head, his expression turning solemn. Look back on it, you were previously taunted and jeered by others, but just earlier, you were showered with welcomes and cheers. What is the reason for such a big difference? Could it be because of this mask? But in fact, you had been yourself all along, isn't that so? Xia Lin nodded. Fang Yuan looked at the street outside the alley and pointed at the passing crowd. Take a look now, these people don't want to inspect your true self and who Xia Lin truly is. When we were dancing and singing, they also did not want to know our names. They are only expressing their attitude, the true situation is not important to them. Ordinary people chase after the truth because they are usually angry and indignant about being made a fool of. So to them, we are not important at all, and to us, their attitude should similarly not be important. Xia Lin took a deep breath. Master Chu, thank you for comforting me, I truly can't thank you enough. I have not finished speaking. Since the attitude of outsiders is not important, what is truly important in our lives? Fang Yuan asked with a smile. Xia Lin was stunned for the third time. Master, forgive my ignorance. Fang Yuan pointed at Xia Lin and then pointed at himself. It is us, ourselves. It is our truest feelings. Ask yourself, listen to the voice in the depths of your heart. What do you want to do, what kind of person you want to become, where do you want to go? You will obtain the answer in the depths of your heart. If you want to travel, then travel around the world. If you want to treat others well, then treat them properly. If you want to attempt flying, then collect money and resources to purchase and practice flying gu worms. Fang Yuan pointed at the alley then at the street. If you want to remain in the alley, you can stay. If you want to walk into the street and enjoy the event with others, then walk out. Don't mistreat your own feelings because of their attitude. If you mistreat yourself frequently, then you will end up with regrets, you will constantly wear a mask to act as another person, you will no longer be yourself. The moment she heard that, Xia Lin felt that her mind had cleared up, it was as if she received enlightenment, all her previous worries and distress were swept away entirely. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., Please let us know your report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1672, Stop Being So Naive. Chapter 1672, Stop Being So Naive. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Master, I will never forget your guidance in my life. The mermaid took a step back and bowed solemnly towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan laughed heartily. My efforts were not in vain. But sometimes, it is easier said than done. I'll ask you now, what is it that you want to do the most at this moment? Xia Lin hesitated. I want to follow you. This was the first thing that popped up in her mind. But before she spoke, she saw Fang Yuan shaking his head. You still haven't thought properly, you have time to think about it later. Actually, I am not concerned about what you want to do. Do you know what I want to do? Xia Lin shook her head, but at the next moment, her eyes opened wide and her body stiffened. Because Fang Yuan had slowly stretched out his hand and stroked her face. Thump 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 thump. Xia Lin's face blushed red, her heart thumped wildly, and watery ripples appeared in her eyes. She felt Fang Yuan's wide palm and the warmth from it. This feeling was like a slight electric shock that transmitted to her body and mind. It was clearly an ordinary action, but Xia Lin was unable to even budge. Fang Yuan took back his hand. You still have a mask on. Xia Lin was puzzled, but she heard Fang Yuan speak. Sometimes, we wear a mask of our own initiative, sometimes, others force us to wear a mask. Right now, I want to take away the mask on your face. Cooperate with me, okay? Master, you don't need. Xia Lin vaguely knew what Fang Yuan wanted to do as she stuttered. Fang Yuan shook his hand. I will not be happy unless I take this mask off. I don't want to betray my feelings. Since you feel that you owe me, then cooperate with me as compensation, okay? How could Xia Lin refuse after hearing this? She knelt on the ground and made 3 kowtows to Fang Yuan before quietly standing up. Master Chu, I will do whatever you want me to do. Okay, then become the saintess. What? Several days later. The sea god ceremony's final test had gathered the attention of everyone. Su Yi was looking at Xia Lin with shock as if she had seen a ghost. The 2 nannies were also stunned. Following the Grand Elder's explanation, the crowd went into a commotion. Su Yi was very confident of victory because her competitor had suffered heavy injuries in the previous round and was unable to step up to compete in such a short duration. But who could have thought that a surprise would occur? The competitor's younger sister who had been separated for many years was found. It was this mermaid, Xia Lin. Isn't this too melodramatic? Unbelievable. Xia Lin, isn't she the person who betrayed Su Yi for her own gains? That is a lie that Su Yi's supporters spread intentionally. The true reason is that Su Yi wanted to free up a follower quota. I heard that investigator pleaded guilty. His conversation where he pressured Xia Lin was recorded and is ironclad evidence. This is more dramatic than an opera play. The discussions among the audience became more heated. The 2 nannies conversed secretly. What is going on? How did the public sentiment change all of a sudden? Also, we never arranged for the investigator. Why did he admit guilt for no reason? Su Yi's expression was extremely unsightly, while Xia Lin was calmly looking at the crowd. Fang Yuan's guidance had elevated her mind and spirit to another level. Su Yi felt even more stifled when she saw that Xia Lin did not even look at her. She snorted coldly. Xia Lin, I truly didn't think we would meet again and in this way. I also didn't expect this. Xia Lin looked at Su Yi and said honestly. The huge setbacks and gains that she experienced over these days felt like a dream. Su Yi snorted once again. No matter what scheme you have, this last test is not something a casually selected mermaid can pass. This sea god ceremony's saintess position is mine. Oh. Xia Lin lightly replied. Su Yi felt like her provocation had ended up hitting air. She felt terribly irritated. Xia Lin scanned through the surrounding crowd once again. There were too many people. Master Chu said he will watch me from the crowd. But where is he? I am not able to find him at all. Could he have disguised his appearance? He has vast mystical prowess. If he wants to hide, I will never be able to find him. After this matter is over, I will tell him I want to follow him. I wonder if he will agree. Xia Lin's mind lingered on this question. Compared to the answer to this question, the saintess position did not have any attraction to her. In the first round, Xia Lin was slightly better than Su Yi. In the second round, Xia Lin won against Su Yi by a little. This result greatly surpassed expectations, causing the audience to be in a commotion. Everyone revealed shock. Fang Yuan, who was hiding among the audience, looked shocked like the surrounding people, but his heart was tranquil. He had trained Xia Lin over these days, using immortal level time path methods to gain a large amount of time to train her to a certain level. Along with Fang Yuan's personally chosen songs, which were unique, and the sound path Gu worms he prepared specially for Xia Lin. Moreover, when Su Yi and Xia Lin stepped on the stage to sing, Fang Yuan had even secretly tampered and influenced their performances. The former's performance became choppy while the latter's performance became increasingly better due to his support. Besides us outsiders, there is probably no Gu immortal in this grotto heaven. Now that I am using immortal level methods, is there any worry that I can't control this grand ceremony of mortal Gu masters? What should we do? The third round is about to start. The two nannies were sweating from anxiety. They were sent by the clan to specially assist Su Yi. If Su Yi did not get the saintess position, they would have to suffer the punishment. Su Yi was pale as she looked at Xia Lin. Everything felt like a dream. As far as Su Yi was concerned, Xia Lin was a dull and ordinary girl. It was only because she possessed gather oil Gu and was a mermaid that Su Yi had used her. Although she had not felt comfortable doing this to Xia Lin, she did not feel like it was a huge deal. Even if Xia Lin wanted to take revenge, what revenge could she take? She, a person with no background and only rank 2 cultivation, wasn't she asking for others to use her? If not for the saintess position being in sight and Su Yi not wanting to divert her attention, she would have taken the chance to scheme for Xia Lin's rank 5 Gu worm. This was not considered repaying kindness with enmity. Could a rank 2 Gu master protect a rank 5 Gu worm? A person's wealth is their own ruin by causing another's greed. So, to Su Yi, rather than Xia Lin being killed by others in the future, it was better to persuade Xia Lin to offer gather oil Gu to the clan of her own initiative. Like this, her own side would obtain benefits and she would also not die. It could also be considered as Su Yi helping her. This was a small plan in Su Yi's mind. But, as the saintess position was too important, Su Yi did not dare to split her attention and also did not want to attract criticism, so she could only spare Xia Lin for the moment. If it were before and someone told her Xia Lin would be her biggest obstacle in becoming the saintess, Su Yi would have replied with only a chuckle, hee hee. Now though, Su Yi wanted to say, hee hee, to herself, life was truly too cruel. With Fang Yuan personally forging a fake identity for Xia Lin, who would be able to see through it? Nobody in this huge sacred city could. So this evidence which proved Xia Lin's identity was irrefutable and ironclad. Even Su Yi believed Xia Lin's identity was truly like so. Oh destiny, this is truly too big of a joke. Su Yi heaved a deep sigh. Young miss, what should we do? The two nannies were out of ideas. We cannot do anything in front of such a large crowd, we also don't have the time. There is only one option left, I will personally persuade her. Su Yi remained silent for a while before uttering through clenched teeth. She transmitted her voice to Xia Lin, I am Su Yi. Xia Lin was surprised, but her expression calmed down quickly as she replied, what's the matter? Su Yi organized her thoughts and said, I want to make a deal with you, lose the next round and let me be the saintess. I swear in the name of the sea god that I will pay a price that will satisfy you completely. Even if my power is not enough, my family will be able to satisfy you. Xia Lin remained silent for a moment before saying, sorry but I Don't be in a hurry to reject me, Xia Lin. You are too young, maybe you still don't recognize the significance of the saintess position. What do you think the saintess is? Just a belief? Or a superficial selection? Both are wrong. It involves benefits, it involves the interests of the whole sacred city's higher-ups. This is a political game. I know you want to take revenge against me, but do you know your situation is extremely dangerous right now? Once you become the saintess, you will be in an even bigger danger. Your elder sister's side pushed you to the stage because they did not have other candidates, so they are only putting up a front. Once you become the saintess, they will use all their strength to make you into their puppet. They will make you do things that match their benefits. Although I have not been in much contact with you, I understand you. You are pure and kind. If you become the saintess, you will probably try to fight for benefits of the mermen and mermaids. But you definitely won't succeed because you are not a person of any political force, you are just an outsider. Unless you join one of the forces and become the representative of their benefits, or else you will be excluded by everyone and will become the most powerless saintess in history. But if you choose to transact with me, the benefits you will obtain will surpass your imagination. It will be much more than the benefits you can obtain from your elder sister's side. Please believe in my sincerity. Su Yi had an amazingly eloquent tongue, even Xiao Lin felt moved. But she replied, Lady Su Yi, I understand your sincerity, but I cannot agree to you in this matter. Why? Su Yi's tone was hurried. You think I am deceiving you? Although it is cruel, what I have said are all truthful. Stop being so naive, okay? Xia Lin remained silent. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1673, Gu Yu Fong Yuan. Chapter 1673, Gu Yu Fong Yuan. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Fong Yuan's first life of 500 years. Sea God Ceremony. Naive? Facing Frost-Tide Tribe's leader's long-winded speech, Fong Yuan fell into silence. But he only fell silent for a short period before he chuckled and transmitted his voice. You think I am not aware of what you said? You think I am an inexperienced youngster? No, I understand all these tricks, clearly in fact. I know these truths and have accepted them. Fong Yuan was forced to leave Qin Mao Mountain, wandering about in southern border before going to western desert and then to eastern sea. He struggled at the border of death. He had to worry about 1 or 2 primeval stones. He had to bow down and grovel before the strong and this destitute life. He had also once gained a high status, listening to reports from his subordinates while drinking tea. He had been lowly, he had been glorious, he had been lofty, he had been ordinary. Considering his life on earth and the experiences after crossing over to this world, his vision was already beyond normal people, his experiences were plentiful, and he was very knowledgeable. How could such a person not understand these worldly affairs? Frost-Tide Tribe's leader was frustrated, replying quickly, since you know these truths, then you should know you are taking great risks now. This is our merman internal political battle. What are you, a weak human Gu master, doing by meddling? You like Xie Han Mo. I can guarantee that after this matter is finished, I will gift you many more beautiful mermaids. Don't doubt my sincerity, I can swear an oath to the sea god. There is indeed no need to doubt the sincerity of a merman who swears an oath to the sea god. But, Fong Yuan continued, although I accept these truths, it does not mean I like them. You think I like Xie Han Mo? No, I only want to help her. Why am I taking such risks to help her? Because I have my own principle, favors must be repaid, hatred must be returned. I have used lifespan Gu, I have lived much longer than you can imagine. I used to wish for a long life before, but now, I am tired of this thought. Life has become increasingly boring. Sometimes, the final destination of the journey is not important, the important thing is the process of the journey and how you feel during the journey. Frost-Tide Tribe's leader involuntarily opened his eyes wide at these words. It was hard for him to understand Fong Yuan's way of life. You are saying the position of saintess is not important, the important thing is helping Xie Han Mo in this competition. Correct, but there is still more. You talked of the dark side of politics and promised to gift me mermaid beauties, both have no importance to me. Let me put it this way so you might understand a little, I have lived long enough that I am already sick of wearing a mask to live. Death is not scary to me at all. Right now, I only want to live using my truest emotions and feelings. I will achieve my goals in my own way. Only by living like this can I feel the excitement of life and the desire towards living. Frost Tide Tribe's leader was dumbstruck and stupefied. He finally understood as he shouted, "So that's it, you are a lunatic. You have said so much, but they are nothing more than saying you have lived long enough and don't want to live anymore. So be it, you were a Gu immortal, but you, a mere rank 3 Gu master, want to live life your own way. You are dreaming." Fong Yuan smiled. "You think becoming a Gu immortal can allow people to live according to their will? Live without wearing a mask? A place with people has society and conflict. Survival and living are two different things. The way you want to live does not have to depend on your strength and cultivation level, but your own heart." After a brief pause, Fong Yuan continued, "Actually, low strength is also quite interesting. When you live without a mask, low strength will allow you to face more difficulties and challenges of reality, surpass these difficulties, face these challenges, and life becomes much more wonderful." Frost Tide Tribe's leader stood stupefied, his eyes and mouth were wide open as he was unable to say anything. His sight moved across the crowd of people, landing on Fong Yuan. He saw a slight smile. A chill rose in his heart. This person has such strange and deviant thoughts that differ from common logic. He has an inclination towards self-destruction. He has likely turned demonic. It would not matter if he did not play by the rules, the more terrifying thing was he did not think according to the rules. His thought process was completely different from ordinary people. He was already too far away from the norm. This was a demon. This is a true demon. Frost Tide Tribe's leader felt a chill. He felt this was Fong Yuan's true nature, even though Fong Yuan did not wantonly slaughter lives, even though Fong Yuan currently still committed acts of kindness like repaying favors. Frost Tide Tribe's leader felt a deep powerlessness at the same time. If it were an inexperienced youngster, he could have disguised himself as a senior to guide him and let him know the complexities and some dark truths of society. But Fong Yuan understood them well. He almost knew everything way too clearly. What made him even more helpless was that Fong Yuan's thoughts completely differed from others. He is too strong-minded and stubborn. He clearly only has rank 3 cultivation, how dare he? Unreasonable, unreasonable. A lunatic, a madman. He is too arrogant. He actually shows contempt for life and death. Right, he does not even fear death. What would he not dare to do? All the wealth, beauties and status in the world might be useless when compared to his own true feelings. What else do I have to entice him? Frost Tide Tribe's leader was going crazy. The more he thought, the more he realized, the more he knew Fong Yuan had no fear and would not be enticed. There might be a day when he is enticed, but it would be because he himself wanted to be enticed and it would be his genuine intention. It was not easy for people to live in this world. That was the case for mermen as well. Frost Tide Tribe's leader had high authority and status, but it was even harder for him. The elders of Merman's sacred city were pressuring him from above, while many of his subordinates were scheming against each other or coveting his position. He had a lot of children who were looking for power and authority, and there were deep conflicts between his many wives. Everything required his supervision and arrangements. Was it wrong for him to be corrupt? No. What was corruption? Corruption was no more than obtaining more benefits, and these benefits made other benefit holders feel unfair. It was similar to dividing a cake. In normal cases, you take a piece and I take a piece. Now, I secretly took another piece which made you jealous. You complain, you broke our distribution agreement. What gives you the rights to take so much? This was corruption. Did you think the Grand Elder's side which supports the Saintess was not corrupt? There would be more or less some corruption. Even if the Grand Elder herself was not corrupt, what about her subordinates? Her children? It was just that they were not as heavily corrupt as Frost Tide Tribe's leader. Even if the Grand Elder's side was completely free from corruption, they were still higher-ups, people who enjoyed the cake and also people who exploited others. From this aspect, everyone was an exploiter. what difference was there? They were all the same. So, Frost-Tide Tribe's leader had never felt his corruption was wrong, he only wanted to obtain more wealth, beauties, and authority. As his corruption increased, he was gradually pushing beyond the distribution agreement. But he did not want to stop, the greed in him did not allow him to stop. No, it is not greed. It is my aspiration. Many times, Frost-Tide Tribe's leader would shout this inwardly. There was a joke which was not a joke. The father asked his son, "What is your aspiration when you grow up?" The son replied, "I want wealth and beauties." The father slapped his son. The son replied again, "I want career and love." The father smiled and nodded his head lightly. Therefore, while career and love were aspirations, wealth and beauties were also aspirations. So, Frost-Tide Tribe's leader was confident in himself. Was there anything wrong with him chasing wealth, beauties, authority, and fame? Did you think it was crude? These were all aspirations. Which person's life was not filled with such aspirations? Frost-Tide Tribe's leader liked this aspiration from deep down because this aspiration spurred him on, and also enticed others to pay in sacrifice for their aspirations and help him, Frost-Tide Tribe's leader, to achieve his aspiration. There was nothing wrong with his corruption, this was his aspiration. Aspirations should be practical and required effort to reach. When Frost-Tide Tribe's leader fell into corruption for the first time, he knew there would be a time when he would be opposed and blamed by others. But so what? These were natural and were difficulties and pains that he must experience in realizing his aspiration. As long as he passed these difficulties and subdued this suffering, Frost-Tide Tribe's leader could realize his aspiration. As long as he used a series of political techniques like secret manipulation, indirect approaches, threats, and so on, he could realize his aspiration. Frost-Tide Tribe's leader, who had an authoritative status for a long time, was confident in this aspect. He indeed had the capital to be confident. If not for Fang Yuan appearing out of nowhere, he would have already pushed down Xianxia and promoted his own pawn to the saintess position. Once he accomplishes this, he would have defeated the Grand Elder and successfully defended the fruits of success from his corruption. He would then use the puppet saintess to issue several policies which would be for a good future of the mermen and also for Sacred City. He would be able to turn his corrupted history into legal events that would clear his reputation for good. At that time, who could say he was corrupted? But right when Frost-Tide Tribe's leader was about to succeed, he failed, he completely failed. Because he ran into Fang Yuan. This person had no aspirations. No, that was not exactly right. Frost-Tide Tribe's leader believed Fang Yuan liked wealth, beauties, power and fame too, but he liked to live by his own feelings even more. That was his aspiration. What was the point of having such a grand aspiration? With such an aspiration, wouldn't the majority of other people end up looking crude and ordinary? He was really courting death. Frost-Tide Tribe's leader gritted his teeth with hatred. This hatred was intensified because of an unknown fear in the depths of his heart. Frost-Tide Tribe's leader wished he could flay Fang Yuan, he wished Fang Yuan would immediately die. But he could not do so right now as this was the sea god ceremony. The final song. Xianxia and Fang Yuan walked to the stage together. Fang Yuan played the accompaniment while Xianxia's song spread to the surroundings. 1. The blue sea is laughing, the tidal waves are surging. Drifting with the waves, only caring about today. Heaven laughs at this hectic mortal world. Who will win, who will lose, only heaven knows. Human lives have ups and downs like the waves, sometimes high, sometimes low. Why do we have to be always concerned about victory or defeat? The natural romanticism intoxicated the crowd. The rivers and mountains laugh, the misty rain is far away. How many great men and heroes have the tides washed away? Smiling at the breeze wind, lost in quiet solitude. Heroic feelings remain, reflected in the cold night. Bold and lofty, free and unrestrained, all kinds of aspirations would be washed away by the waves. Even life itself will perish. But what is the big deal? A noble man is not a slave to external matters, aloof from the world, forgetting gains and losses. Destiny is fickle, so why uphold your disposition, throw away your mask and find your true self. True self is unyielding, true self is lonely. Even if my life is the setting sun, I will live my own splendor. The audience was entranced. Frost-Tide Tribe's leader was pale, his body shivered as he understood his loss was certain. The blue sea is laughing, the tidal waves are surging. Drifting with the waves, only caring about today. Heaven laughs at this hectic mortal world. Who will win, who will lose, only heaven knows. The rivers and mountains laugh, the misty rain is far away. How many great men and heroes have the tides washed away? Common people laugh, there is no more loneliness. Yet the unyielding spirit in me is still laughing crazily. I struggle to survive in the mortal world, I came to life and I joined the world. I lived my own life, I lived according to my own feelings, even if the waves toss me up and down, sending me to the border of death, I will never grieve, lament, fear, or worry, I will savor these flavor thoroughly, I will still laugh crazily until the end. I am true to my nature. I am a true person. 1. On the stage, Fang Yuan was wholeheartedly activating the Gu worm with his eyes closed, the sound of the zither spreading throughout the area. Frost-Tide Tribe's leader looked at him blankly, involuntarily mumbling, this demon. Xia Han Mo was also entranced as she sang. She looked at Fang Yuan, an extraordinary brightness shining in her eyes as she thought, such a free and unrestrained life, isn't this what I yearn for? Fang Yuan is able to create such a song, he has the disposition of an immortal. Back to the present. Dragon Whale Grotto Heaven, Merman Sacred City. Sea God Ceremony. Xia Lin went on stage for the third song. The blue sea is laughing, the tidal waves are surging. Drifting with the waves, only caring about today. Heaven laughs at this hectic mortal world. Who will win, who will lose, only heaven knows. The entire place was shocked, Sui turned pale. The outcome was already certain. Xia Lin was already entranced in singing. At this moment, Master Chu's image was elevated infinitely in her heart, there was a moon and slight breeze in the background along with faint fog. The familiar melody rang once again in Fang Yuan's ears and intertwined with his memory. He had once stood on the stage as an accompanist, closing his eyes and slightly smiling. Now, he stood outside of the stage as a spectator, his eyes hiding dark light. After living for several hundred years, the vast power of time had changed him, but it also seemed like nothing had changed. He had always been Guyu Fang Yuan. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1674, Sudden Change, Regret Gu. Chapter 1674, Sudden Change, Regret Gu. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. The sea god ceremony ended, the result was astonishing, the person who became the saintess was completely unexpected by anyone, Xia Lin. Saintess Palace shined with bright and gorgeous lights, a group of servants were running around. Xia Lin had already changed into her saintess attire, she was dressed in a white garment while her tail rested on a lump of clouds. She opened the window and gazed at the large courtyard, those colorful corals could not attract her gaze. She looked dazed and unfocused. Several days have passed since the sea god ceremony concluded, Master Chu has not appeared again after transmitting his message that day. When will he return? Saintess, your elder sister has come to pay a visit. At this moment, a maid lightly walked towards Xia Lin and reported. Xia Lin's brows slightly furrowed as she sighed, please bring her in. Xia Lin's elder sister Zhao Lu walked into Saintess Palace. She was only Xia Lin's elder sister in name, but after Fang Yuan tampered with her memories, this elder sister did not doubt Xiao Lin's identity. "Little sister, have you considered what I said to you a few days ago?" Zhao Lu said directly. Xiao Lin shook her head lightly. "I am really sorry, I don't want to get involved in other affairs. The saintess position was never my goal. If possible, I do not want to be the saintess." Zhao Lu laughed. Her laughter carried a sense of ridicule and jealousy. She was narrowly defeated by Su Yi in the final stage, then Xiao Lin came out of nowhere and was supported by her backers just to give it a try. They had not thought Xiao Lin would truly succeed. The political force behind Zhao Lu, naturally, would not let go of Xiao Lin and wanted to make her their representative for benefits. But before Fang Yuan left, he had instructed Xiao Lin to not agree to any person or side with any political force. So Xiao Lin had already refused Zhao Lu a few days ago. Naturally, Zhao Lu's mood would not be so good. First of all, her long-lost little sister had suddenly appeared. Besides the connection of blood, she did not feel any affection for this sister. Secondly, she had worked hard for so long, but in the end, Xiao Lin, who had cut in line, snatched the position of saintess. This was the same as snatching her lifelong dream. Lastly, the force behind her still made her come out to persuade and rope in her younger sister Xiao Lin, but Xiao Lin still refused. With all these reasons, Zhao Lu's mood naturally could not be good. "Xiao Lin, if you truly didn't want to become saintess, why did you take part? Don't say such things to me, we both understand the situation here, tell me whatever requests you have, this deal will make you fully satisfied." Zhao Lu spoke frankly. Xiao Lin's brows furrowed deeper, she knew Zhao Lu was not her elder sister. This was just Master Chu's doing. And now that she heard such words from Zhao Lu, Xiao Lin's impression of her worsened greatly. "Elder sister." Xiao Lin spoke softly, "I am truly sorry, I really don't want to get involved in these matters. But you can rest assured that I won't collaborate with other forces as well." Zhao Lu's eyes opened wide. "Xiao Lin, you are truly naive, you actually have such thoughts. I had thought you were waiting for the right price, sigh, I overestimated you. Since it is so, I will make it clear for you, you will die if you don't have our support, understand?" Xiao Lin was stunned as she stared at Zhao Lu. "Don't tell me." Zhao Lu shook her head, "Don't think wildly, we never had the intention to conspire against you even if you ended up not collaborating with us. You are the saintess, a person who has received the sea god's recognition, which Merman Force dares to make a move against you. Once the deed is exposed, they will face a terrible death. Every selected saintess has an important task. That is to go to Demon Suppression Regret Crying Sea and sing for 3 days and 3 nights, using her song to eliminate the increasingly dense demonic aura in Regret Crying Sea. This is an extremely dangerous task and has a very low survival rate. Many saintesses have passed away in Regret Crying Sea, some who came back alive turned crazy. Although the saintess position is good, it carries enormous risks and danger. If not for this task, there would be at least 10 times more mermaids competing for the position of saintess. There is such a thing. Xiao Lin was astonished. Zhao Lu laughed, "You think I am deceiving you? This information might be hidden but it is not any important secret. You can easily inquire about it with your current identity and position. You can casually find anyone to ask, but of course, ordinary mermen are in the dark about it. Among the sea areas controlled by the Sacred Court, the most dangerous is Demon Suppression Regret Crying Sea. It is an absolute forbidden area. According to legends, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable suppressed a peerless demonic Gu immortal in this sea area. The immortal venerable was too benevolent to take away the demonic Gu immortal's life, so he sealed the demonic Gu immortal to make him repent. This demonic Gu immortal had no choice but to repent, so there are often sounds of crying in that sea area. But his sins are truly too heavy and his demonic nature is too strong. The demonic aura will accumulate after a period of time and start influencing the living organisms in the sea area, making them stronger, ferocious and crueler. The saintess' task is to go the center of Demon Suppression Regret Crying Sea and sing with all her strength, using her song to dispel the demonic aura. Otherwise, as time goes on, the demonic aura in demon suppression regret crying sea will keep on getting stronger, making the living beings in the sea area become more tyrannical and invasive. This demonic aura is infectious as well, which will expand the area of demon suppression regret crying sea. Xia Lin showed a surprised expression as it was the first time she heard this secret. Even with support and ample preparations, the previous saintesses had to face extreme danger. If I go in alone without your help, it is almost like seeking death. Not almost, but definitely. Zhao Lu's tone was firm. She expected this could persuade Xia Lin but did not expect Xia Lin to still reject. Even so, I won't collaborate. Even if it will result in your death. Zhao Lu's expression was cold. It was not that Xia Lin did not have hesitation, but the image of Fang Yuan in her mind made her insist on abiding by the agreement she made with Fang Yuan. Yes, I am sure, even if I die. Zhao Lu was so furious that she laughed. If so, I only wish you good luck. The sisters parted on a bad note. It finally appeared. In front of Merit Obelisk, Fang Yuan's eyes emitted bright light. A new task had appeared on Merit Obelisk: help the new saintess complete her most important mission. The task did not provide any details. By only looking at this task, outsiders would have no idea what the mission was. But Fang Yuan had already inquired about it. In the Merman's sacred court, the selected saintess had one important mission: to purify demon suppression regret crying sea. Fang Yuan could only enter demon suppression regret crying sea if there was such a task. But the issue was, Fang Yuan was not sure if this task would appear on the Merit Obelisk. So he needed to support a saintess, and this saintess should have low strength with no one to rely on. If so, the saintess would have no way to complete her mission and would require the help of outsiders. In this grotto heaven, there were no local Gu immortals besides the suppressed demonic immortal. Demon suppression regret crying sea was extremely dangerous, accumulating demonic aura at set intervals. The restraining method of the grotto heaven was to select a saintess to quell it without regarding the sacrifices. The saintess mission was extremely important. If there was no successor to the saintess position for too long of a time, the demonic aura might even pervade the whole grotto heaven. But naturally, there might also be some backup methods left by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. What Fang Yuan did was to hasten the appearance of this task as far as possible. And from the results, his plan worked perfectly. Without any hesitation, Fang Yuan accepted the task and was once again teleported to Sacred City. Several days later, Saintess Xia Lin stood on a giant tortoise that was slowly advancing towards demon suppression regret crying sea. Behind her stood Fang Yuan. The journey was tranquil and calm, but all of a sudden, a gale blew towards them carrying with it crying sounds. I really regret it. Why did I have to provoke Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable? I regret it so much. Xia Lin jolted, quickly looking at Fang Yuan. Master Chu. No worries. Fang Yuan smiled while secretly using wisdom path methods to calm Xia Lin and the giant tortoise. The crying sound seemed like an immortal killer move that could disturb an ordinary being's emotions and mind. The nearer they reached demon suppression regret crying sea, the louder and more concentrated the crying sound became. I regret it. I should not have killed so many people. I painfully regret it. I should not have chased after power. It would have been much better if I had stayed behind to look after my parents as a filial son. I truly repent. I deceived everyone and concealed immortal Gu. I let a friend, who trusted me the most, carry the blame so I could get benefits. The mournful cries made Xia Lin's face pale, while Fang Yuan instead became more excited because he already felt the large immortal formation in this place. I am now almost certain Regret Gu is here. But if I take Regret Gu, will it destroy Paradise Earth's arrangements and trigger his backup methods? Fang Yuan was doubtful. Regret Gu was very important. It was used to suppress the giant demon in the sea and was clearly not included in Paradise Earth's true inheritance. But as far as Fang Yuan was concerned, it was a crucial Gu worm he had to take, and he had decided to take the risk. He focused his mind, activating investigative methods with all his strength. This demon suppression regret crying formation gradually appeared in his mind, becoming increasingly clearer. This time, it was Fang Yuan who became pale. Such a powerful formation, it is as vast as the sky. My formation path attainment level is high and I also have extremely powerful wisdom path methods, but I would need at least dozens of years to comprehend all the profundities of this large formation. Cold sweat started seeping out of Fang Yuan's forehead when his mind suddenly jolted. Regret Gu. He discovered Regret Gu. Although Regret Gu was hidden, Fang Yuan had already determined Regret Gu was hiding somewhere in the center of the sea area through all kinds of clues and arrangements. How should I take Regret Gu? If I move rashly and trigger the formation's backlash, it would end up badly. Maybe I can rely on reverse flow protection seal to resist it one time. Or borrow the strength of the suppressed demon. Fang Yuan analyzed continuously in his mind. If the demon was released, all the living beings of this small world might face extreme misery and suffering, but Fang Yuan had no misgivings or pity. Just as Fang Yuan was thinking, a change occurred. The large formation suddenly activated. Regret Gu shot out directly towards Fang Yuan. At the same time, an extremely boundless force emerged and pressed on Fang Yuan's body. What happened? At the next moment, Fang Yuan disappeared, directly leaving this grotto heaven of paradise earth. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1675, Birth of Red Lotus 2. Chapter 1675, Birth of Red Lotus 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Dark clouds covered the sky and heavy rain was pouring down. Rumble. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. In Central Continent, inside the City Lord's manor in Maple Leaf City, the Maple Leaf City Lord was pacing back and forth outside a room. He had a square face and a dignified temperament. Right now, however, his brows were tightly furrowed and his mood was like this weather, erratic and uneasy, feeling extremely worried. Suddenly, he stopped in his tracks and leaned in with his ear pressing on the door. Besides the torrential rainstorm and thunder, he could hear painful groans from his wife as well as several midwives' voices. Madam, push harder. Maple Leaf City Lord was already over 50 years old. He loved his wife deeply. He was a rank 5 Gu master with the highest battle strength in all the surroundings. He had high authority as well as a leader's charisma. He was well supported by the people. The only imperfection was he had no children. 9 months ago, he had been ecstatic because his wife had finally gotten pregnant. He was going to have a child in his old age. His greatest regret was finally resolved. But despite him requesting for 3 famous midwives, 2 were rank 3 and 1 was rank 4, his wife's labor still encountered unexpected difficulty. How could this be? Maple Leaf City Lord wanted to get angry but had nothing to vent on. He clenched his fists. The battle strength, which he had been proud of in the past, was of no use at this moment. He had many healing Gu worms but none of them was good at helping in childbirth. Oh! He could only restrain his mood, lowering his head as he once again paced back and forth in the corridor. Wah! Wah wah! Suddenly, he heard an infant's cry. He then heard joyous laughter from the midwives. The child is born, it is a boy. Madam, you have succeeded. I have a child. My son. Maple Leaf City Lord was stunned for a moment before turning ecstatic. He opened the door impatiently and charged in to take a look. Right at this time, a peculiar fragrance spread within the room. This peculiar fragrance was refreshing and gentle. The fragrance started to become denser, condensing into rays of colorful lights. They were like streams of water that floated in the air, covering the whole manor as well as the surrounding hundreds of li. What is this? Maple Leaf City Lord stopped his steps in astonishment. But the real shock came next. These colorful flowing lights continued to increase in numbers and the fragrance also became increasingly intense. The rainstorm stopped abruptly, dark clouds slowly dissipated, sunlight pierced through the gaps between the dark clouds and shined down, the grandest ray of light among them shining on the delivery room of the City Lord's wife. Then, the flowing lights started to condense into a manor-sized red lotus flower that floated in the air. It was vivid and did not dissipate for a long time. Born with a natural phenomenon. Maple Leaf City Lord was shocked, his wife and the 3 midwives were also frozen from shock. At the same time, in the sky, 3 rank 8 Gu immortals were standing on clouds and watching the city lord's manor in Maple Leaf City. They had seen the phenomenon when the baby was born. He has finally been born. The Gu immortal in the middle, Duke Mei, heaved a long sigh. He was an old man with a benevolent countenance. His brows were particularly peculiar, they were like 2 exquisite dark brown roots that extended down from his forehead to his chest. This child is extraordinary indeed, he is blessed by the destined luck of humanity, his innate blessing is so dense that it actually condensed into a grand red lotus observable to the naked eye. He is absolutely an immortal venerable seed. It was worth it that our heavenly court used 3 wisdom path Gu immortals to deduce him. Standing on the left, Gu immortal Duke Tong sighed. 1. He was a middle-aged man with a very robust physique, his face and muscles seemed to be made from brass as they let out cold metallic glister. Standing on the clouds, he looked deep like a pool and lofty like a mountain, as if he was a Vajra tower that could not be moved even if heaven and earth shook, an absolute spirit that disregarded the storms. Duke Mei nodded. Among all the immortal venerables and demon venerables in history, they share a common characteristic, they all possess the destined luck of humanity. 1. It is just that in some cases, the luck is not conspicuous at the early stage and is deeply concealed. Only by a certain period would the luck activate. This child caused such a phenomenon when he is just born, no wonder heaven and earth cannot tolerate him and sent down calamities and tribulations to eliminate him. This is rare even in venerable history. If this child is nurtured properly, he will definitely become the most talented and outstanding existence among the venerables. Suddenly, Duke Mei's body shook as he coughed out a mouthful of blood. Duke Mei. Duke Tong frowned, we suffered heavy injuries to block the calamities and tribulations. Duke Mei. The Gu immortal standing at the right also revealed a concerned expression. He was a young man with a head full of purple hair, a dragon-shaped chi aura moved around his body continuously. Duke Mei looked at the young Gu immortal, Duke Long. Fate Gu has given us the revelation, you share an extremely deep affinity with this child. This child will become a venerable and you are his Tao guardian. Go, take him as your disciple, guide him and nurture him. You will be the cause of his achievements as he will be the cause of yours. You two are destined to shine brightly in the history of humanity for all eternity. Yes, I shall go now. Young Duke Long nodded. Go. Duke Tong's brows were furrowed. When we return to Heavenly Court, Duke Mei and I shall enter a very long hibernation to recuperate. The era of the 3 Dukes of Heavenly Court is over. Duke Long, you will lead Heavenly Court, continue to bring prosperity to this world. I will. Duke Long restrained his excited emotions and slowly descended. His sleeves were fluttering with the wind, he waved his hand and boundless wind surged. Endless dragon roars were heard, attracting attention and shock from everyone. In this boundless wind, he slowly flew down and landed on the manor of Maple Leaf City Lord. Including Maple Leaf City Lord, all the guards were kneeling on the ground, many of them shivering like leaves. Maple Leaf City Lord was a knowledgeable man, knowing about Gu Immortal's existence as well as knowing his strength could not even resist one finger of a Gu Immortal. He forcibly calmed himself before paying respects. I, Hongzhu, pay respects to Lord Immortal. I wonder what matter Lord Immortal has descended to the mortal world for. Duke Long smiled. Hongzhu, your son is the blessed child of the world, a peerless genius that appears once in a million years with extremely rare innate talents. If he is nurtured well, he will definitely be outstanding. But if he lacks guidance, there will be huge danger to countless beings of this world, chaos would ensue. I was happy to see such a rare talent, and for the sake of humanity, I came here to take this child as my disciple. I will carefully raise and guide him, making him into a leader of the righteous path, a Gu Immortal who seeks prosperity for the whole of humanity. Ah! Maple Leaf City Lord was both stunned and joyous at these words. He was shaken by Duke Long's words, but he had personally seen the natural phenomenon just before, and was actually somewhat mentally prepared. The joy was naturally because his son received a Gu Immortal master and had boundless future prospects, he would definitely surpass his parents. Although he was a city lord with high authority, he was nothing compared to this Gu Immortal. But besides the shock and joy, Hongzhu felt somewhat dejected. He got a child in his old age. It was not easy, but who could have thought that before he even got a chance to look at his son would be taken as a disciple by Lord Immortal. They would probably get very few chances to meet each other in the future. Duke Long immediately knew what Hongzhu was thinking, consoling, "Rest assured, I came today only to explain this matter and not to take away your son immediately. I will only bring him away when he is 10 years old, which is the correct time to start teaching him." Hongzhu immediately felt endless excitement and expressed his thanks repeatedly. At this time, the door opened. The city lord's wife had already cleaned herself up. She came out while holding the newly born baby along with the 3 midwives and knelt on the ground, paying respects to Duke Long. Duke Long's gaze was immediately attracted towards the baby. He laughed happily as he took a step forward, immediately arriving in front of the city lord's wife. He carefully held the baby and inspected him. This baby did not have any ugliness that a newly born baby had. His head was filled with dark hair and had a very attractive and cute face. His eyes shined brightly like stars, his skin was white and tender and his cheeks were chubby. At this time, the red lotus that was hovering in the air slowly descended while shrinking and condensing continuously. In Duke Long's vision, the red lotus eventually landed on the baby's forehead, condensing into a 9-petaled red lotus birthmark. A trace of shock flashed past Duke Long's eyes as he thought, "This destined luck condensed into a birthmark, imprinted on his forehead. This phenomenon has not been seen in any venerable before. When my disciple becomes a venerable, he will probably be an extremely unique one." 1. As he thought of this, Duke Long felt like the light baby he was holding had become as heavy as a mountain. A strong sense of mission and responsibility filled Duke Long's mind. "You don't need to kneel, please stand." After inspecting for a while more, Duke Long solemnly handed the baby back to the city lord's wife. He exhaled, 3 gusts of chi flashed by, one fell on the baby while the other 2 merged inside the city lord couple. The baby immediately fell asleep with a smile on his face. The city lord couple felt boundless strength filling their limbs and bones. The city lord's wife gave a cry of shock. The weakness from giving birth was gone instantly. She burst with energy as her body condition returned to when she was young. City Lord Hongzhu astonishingly discovered his old injuries were completely gone and his primeval essence had broken common sense, carrying a trace of green luster. His strength that was already at a level where it could not be raised further seemed to have been elevated by a large degree. Without immediately inspecting his changes, Hongzhu first gave thanks to Duke Long along with his wife. Duke Long waved his hand. "You don't need to thank me because I still need your help. The parents and the master are not interchangeable with each other. I wish that you can love each other dearly and give your son deep care, let him feel the love and warmth of the world, this will be extremely helpful to his growth. 10 years later, I will come again." 1. Duke Long then slowly rose to the sky. Air currents surged around him and dragon roars were heard unceasingly, as if there was a formless wave of dragons. Mortals gazed towards the sky and saw Duke Long flying away until his figure was blocked by the clouds. After a while of deep silence, the whole city went into an uproar. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know in the report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1676, What is Fate? Chapter 1676, What is Fate? Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. It was a clear sky with no clouds anywhere. Maple Leaf City was bustling with people moving here and there. 6 years had passed since the city lord's son, Hong Ting, was born. In these 6 years, Maple Leaf City enjoyed a peaceful time with no calamities. Its size continued to expand unceasingly, already surpassing the original size by over 10 times, it had become the #1 human city in the surrounding plains. Chirp, chirp. A group of spiritual sparrows flew over from somewhere. Their whole bodies shined with golden light and were flying like they were dancing. They displayed extraordinary liveliness until they arrived at the top of the city lord's manor when suddenly, they imploded one after the other, bursting into specks of golden lights that sprinkled down. Inside the city lord's manor, Hong Ting was currently brandishing a short decorative sword. He was moving some ornamental mounds back and forth while skillfully swinging his sword. In an instant, Hong Ting's figure disappeared, sword lights formed into spheres which shined brightly everywhere. Great! Amazing! Young master truly has unrivaled talents. He has completely perfected this sword technique after just learning it for 3 months. Such a density of sword lights is simply unbelievable. The surrounding guards praised with sincerity from the depths of their hearts. City Lord Hongzhu stroked his beard and nodded with a smile. He was very proud of his son. As for the feeling of surprise, he had lost it a long time ago. Over these years, Hong Ting's aptitude and performance had changed his view and understanding multiple times. He now knew how shallow his comprehension of the word genius was. Because of the endless surprises throughout these years, Hongzhu had already become numb to them long ago. Now, everything involving his son was natural and a matter of fact. Clang! Right at this time, a crisp sound echoed. Silver sword lights suddenly disappeared and Hong Ting's figure appeared once again. His short decorative sword had slashed apart a boulder. Cheers and praises immediately resounded. Father, I feel like this sword technique has not reached its limit. There is room for improvement. Hong Ting walked out from the group of ornamental mounds and said with a smile. Hongzhu laughed heartily. This sword technique belongs to the secret manual of a famous sword cultivator, Xianxia. I used a lot of treasures to exchange for it. You have only practiced for 3 months and already feel that it is not good enough. Hong Ting blinked with a cute slyness in his eyes. Father, I only said that out of momentary inspiration. To tell the truth, this sword technique is only a so-so. I have already learned all of its essence after practicing for 3 months. Hongzhu coughed, feeling a bit of headache again. His son's talent was too great. He was fast at learning anything. He even went as far as to comprehend the deepest essence of those moves. This was good but also bad as well. Hongzhu's accumulations were already used up several years ago by Hong Ting. He went through all kinds of avenues to search for secret manuals to teach Hong Ting, but it still could not match Hong Ting's ability to absorb knowledge like a black hole. If this continued for a long time, what could he do? Right at this time, a group of spiritual sparrows flew over their heads and suddenly imploded into golden light specks. The light specks fell and got absorbed into everyone's head, but most of the light specks were absorbed by Hong Ting alone. Instantly, everyone had joyous expressions. They had received inheritances and all sorts of peculiar secret manuals. This is the gift of yet another immortal. I wonder which immortal this is. We should thank young master. We are all enjoying his fortune. The guards looked at Hong Ting passionately. Even Hongzhu's gaze carried a trace of complex feelings. Hong Ting had closed his eyes, immersed completely in the newly obtained sea of knowledge. Hongzhu and the rest were already not surprised at this scene. Even the commoners outside the city lord's manor were only slightly surprised before returning to their business. Unusual phenomena and immortal miracles were fascinating, but when they happened too many times, they would start feeling bland and ordinary. The immortal miracles appearing around Hong Ting could not be said to be a lot. It was at a mind-numbing level that was simply overflowing with such incidents. Since he was born and taken as a disciple by Duke Long, immortal phenomena would frequently occur around him. Duke Long was the leader of Heavenly Court, not mentioning the rank 8 Gu immortals in Heavenly Court. Just the 10 great ancient sects under Heavenly Court were colossal forces with extremely robust foundations. Duke Long had taken in this disciple with great publicity. He did not conceal anything. Everyone understood his intentions, so whether it was Central Continent's righteous path, demonic path, or lone immortals, they all paid extreme attention to Hong Ting's growth. Hong Ting was the blessed child of the world, a future immortal venerable who would be cultivated by Heavenly Court. This was not a secret. So, every so often, Gu immortals or descendants of Gu immortals would secretly help Hong Ting to build a good affinity and relationship with him in advance. As a result, the Golden Sparrow inheritance gift was not strange. there were also spiritual cranes imparting scrolls, auspicious clouds sending fruits, sacred wind marrow cleansing, and all sorts of unusual immortal level phenomena that appeared endlessly. After a long while, Hongting completely absorbed the knowledge in his brain, but his brows furrowed into a frown. There are 18 types of weapon training methods, each one is exquisite and unique, but there is still no mention of any advanced aperture awakening method. Father, when can I awaken my aperture and control Gu worms? No matter how excellent these fighting techniques are, they are only mortal techniques. Controlling Gu worms is the only true way. Son, don't be in a hurry. You have once again forgotten what your master instructed in his letter. Hongzhu said with a pleasant smile. Hongting waved his hand impatiently. Father, I know. Master said that although I can awaken my aperture in advance, I must do it only when I am 12. Before the timing and opportunity is right, I cannot do it in advance. I am really curious, Master has such vast powers, why can't he awaken my aperture now? Hongzhu's expression became slightly grave. Son, your master is an immortal, you cannot understand what he is thinking, but you have to obey. You need to understand that he absolutely won't harm you, he cherishes you just like how father and mother treasure you. Yes, father. I was wrong, please don't get angry. Hongting quickly cupped his fists, he was very filial to his parents. Time passed, years passed in an instant. Duke Long appeared once again and formally took Hongting as his disciple. He took Hongting to roam all over the world while personally guiding him. When Hongting was 12, Duke Long awakened his aperture. Hongting officially stepped on the path of Gu cultivation, and because of his peerless talent and robust foundation, his cultivation progress was shockingly fast. Not only in his cultivation, his experiences also richened constantly on this journey. He met many people, mortals and immortals, kind people and evil people. His knowledge of human life and heaven and earth was constantly deepening. He had a strong sense of justice and loathed evil, he looked handsome and kind but was crafty and resourceful as well. Master, I have found that evil Xuetu Dao who slaughtered an entire village, he is staying at a nearby mountain. On this day, Hongting returned to the cave from hunting and spoke to Duke Long with excitement. Duke Long nodded with a smile, take a seat first, the soup is almost ready. This soup is made from the bones of an ancient desolate beast, it will be very helpful to your growth. Hongting threw down the prey he hunted, saying with clenched teeth, Master, I have been wanting to take action on Xuetu Dao for over a year and get rid of this evil, but you said I only had rank 3 cultivation while he had rank 5, I was not his match so you didn't allow me to go. Half a year ago, I already had rank 4 cultivation and 8 killer moves, I had an extremely high chance of taking Xuetu Dao's life but you said that it was not 100% so you didn't let me make a move. 3 months ago, I already reached rank 5 and could easily deal with Xuetu Dao in 2 to 3 moves, but you said it was not time to take his life. Master, if we let such an evil person run amok, who knows how many more innocent lives would be lost. Let me strike now. Duke Long put down the ladle and let the bone soup simmer as he said with a sigh, Disciple, the opportunity has not arrived. I don't care about any opportunity, I only know that if I don't make a move now, I would lose a good opportunity. Hongting was extremely firm. Duke Long shook his head, now is not the time for Xuetu Dao to die. If you forcibly kill him, not only will it be futile and fruitless, you will even create certain aftermath which will lead to tragedy. I don't believe it. I only need one move to take his life. Hongting raised one finger, staring right into Duke Long's eyes with a burning gaze. Duke Long went silent for a while, then go, young man, give it a try. Thank you master. Hongting was exulted. I just hope that you will not be disappointed when the time comes. Why will I be disappointed? Master, please wait a moment, disciple will return with Xuetu Dao's head within 15 minutes. Hongting turned around and left. But 15 minutes passed, 30 minutes went by and soon it reached 45 minutes, Hongting still did not appear. Duke Long saw everything, he knew the timing was right as he left the cave and crossed a forest, arriving beside Hongting. Hongting was kneeling on the ground, his face filled with shock, anger, and deep regret. He was dazedly looking at the foot of the mountain, a small village had once been there where the villagers lived happily. His eyes were red and filled with traces of blood. He saw Duke Long and raised his head, tear stains were still clear on his face. Master, I did not imagine there to be a Gu immortal inheritance here. That Xue Tu Dao secretly came here to obtain this inheritance. After I destroyed his plan, he used the inheritance's power to stop me, and although I fought with all my strength, I did not think the battle would cause the mountain to crumble. Unexpectedly, the small village was completely buried. Master. It was me, I caused the death of these villagers. Hong Ting sobbed. Duke Long did not console him. He was silent for a while before suddenly saying, Disciple, do you want revenge? Do you want to get rid of Xue Tu Dao? The opportunity has arrived. Really? Where is he? Hong Ting's body shook, asking immediately. At that mountain. Duke Long pointed. Hong Ting immediately hurried off and easily killed Xue Tu Dao. I was so close, I already obtained the true inheritance and only had to absorb the gains. The moment I narrowly escaped death, you came after me. If I had some time, I would not be afraid, I could have become a Gu immortal. These were Xue Tu Dao's last words before he died. Hong Ting was silently standing before Xue Tu Dao's corpse. Duke Long appeared behind Hong Ting once again, remaining silent. After a good while, Hong Ting stopped looking at Xue Tu Dao's corpse in a daze as he asked with an extremely hoarse voice, Master, had I listened to your arrangements, I could have easily killed him and those villagers would not have been implicated, is that right? Duke Long did not reply, only softly patting Hong Ting's shoulder. Hong Ting's body shook as he fell into a deep silence before asking, Master, I want to ask you, what is fate? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1677, I regret it. Chapter 1677, I regret it. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Fate. Duke Long sighed with a deep and complex expression. He walked towards a rock and patted beside him, indicating Hong Ting to have a seat. Hong Ting followed Duke Long and sat cross-legged. Look. Duke Long pointed at the rock he was sitting on. Hong Ting quickly looked, he saw a small group of ants moving beside the rock. They were moving in an orderly fashion, returning to their nest with food. This is fate. Duke Long continued. What? Look again. Duke Long pointed at the sky. Hong Ting gazed at the sky, clouds of all kinds of shapes were moving in the sky. This also is fate. Duke Long said. Hong Ting's mind jolted as if he had comprehended something. Master, you mean to say? He did not continue, he had gained some comprehension but was unable to express them in words at this time. Ants transporting food, bees collecting honey, wind blowing, clouds floating, everything in this world have their own paths to walk on. To us, they might look like they don't follow any rules, but they are actually moving according to the rules of the great Tao. 1. Look at the moon and sun. Every day, the sun rises and the moon falls, the moon rises and the sun falls. Look at a human's life and death, no matter who they are, be they an immortal venerable or a demon venerable, they will die in the end. Everything is fate. Every person, every living being, even every rock, every drop of water, every lump of fire, since they exist in this world, they will have value and meaning in their existence. Good and evil is also the same. Without good, how would there be evil? Without evil, why talk about good? You were in a hurry to kill Xue Tu Dao and did not see his value. Since heaven and earth let him exist, there is definitely a reason for his life. This is fate. Fate already has arrangements for everything in the world, it is just that we can only slightly feel this kind of arrangement and cannot see it clearly. Not being able to see clearly is normal. The laws of heaven and earth, the great Tao of the universe, even if an immortal uses all their life, they would not be able to understand them thoroughly. We are too weak, too small, while heaven and earth is too vast. We should revere heaven and earth, follow the arrangements of the heavenly fate, and bring fortune to the world. Your parents' marriage was fate's arrangement, their greatest value was to bring you into this world. You will become an immortal venerable in the future, this is also fate's arrangement. You need to accept it, climb to the peak step by step, lead heavenly court and contribute your life to the righteous path. And my greatest value in life is to teach and guide you towards the proper path. I am your Dao Guardian. Believe in fate, acknowledge fate, all its arrangements have their own reasons. If we forcibly interfere, it will lead to tragedy and regret. Just like how you tried to take Xue Tu Dao's life early, but were you able to kill him? Duke Long shook his head, no. Although your strength surpassed his, you encountered all kinds of unexpected situations. In the end, not only did you fail to kill him, you even implicated innocent lives. Think back on it, if you had listened to fate's arrangements and attacked Xue Tu Dao at his weakest moments, would you still have encountered those accidents? I will tell you, the value of Xue Tu Dao's existence was to activate this Gu immortal inheritance, to open the way and hand this inheritance to you. Hong Ting was dazed, he was motionless like a statue. 2 clear rows of tears fell from his eyes as he choked, Master, I was wrong. It is good to know your mistakes and change them. Actually, your wrong choice was also fate's arrangement. Duke Long said. Master, what do you mean? We are all under fate's arrangements, you thought you could defy fate, but your thought was also fate's arrangement. You don't need to feel guilty, you should comprehend fate's intention. You think your wrong choice was of no value? Wrong. Every mistake has an inestimable value to a youth's growth. If you can absorb the lesson from this mistake, acknowledge fate's existence and accept it, then this mistake would have shown its value. That village's destruction also has its value. Duke Long then took a deep look at Hong Ting, my disciple, you are a talented and intelligent child, a good child, but I worry because you emphasize on feelings too much. You already have rank 5 cultivation now, among the paths to ascend to an immortal, you will probably choose wisdom path, right? Master, your vision is unparalleled, I indeed have such thoughts, I feel like wisdom path is extremely suitable for me. Hong Ting said truthfully. Duke Long shook his head, wisdom path focuses on thought, will, and emotion. You emphasize on feelings too much, so studying emotions has more demerits than benefits to you. Listen to Master, choose time path. When you can view the past and present, observe the rise and decline of history, all sorts of honor and disgrace, you will understand that all feelings and romance will be cleansed by time. I have received revelation from Fate Gu, time path suits you the most. Hong Ting opened his mouth slightly, wanting to say something, but he nodded in the end, disciple shall abide by Master's teachings and choose time path. Duke Long nodded in satisfaction, that's good, Master is your Dao Guardian, pointing you towards the correct path is the meaning behind my existence. Time slowly moved forward. Hong Ting chose time path, and under Duke Long's protection, successfully passed his immortal ascension tribulation, becoming a time path Gu immortal. Lord Immortal Hong Ting, that demon has proclaimed he is going to slaughter the whole city unless I give my daughter to him as a concubine. He is a great Gu immortal, we are only mortals. We truly are unable to do anything, considering the friendship between me and your father, I implore you to eliminate this demon. An old city lord paid a visit, kneeling to the ground as he made his request to Hong Ting. Hong Ting recognized him, this city lord's city was close to Maple Leaf City. They had frequent dealings with each other, this city lord and his father indeed had a close friendship. He had even seen this city lord's daughter and had played with her when they were young. Old senior, please get up. I will definitely help, it is just that. Hong Ting paused for a moment, the opportunity has not arrived. The old city lord was exulted, since Lord Immortal has replied, this old man shall be rest assured. I believe Lord Immortal will not go back on his words. Hong Ting waited till it was the correct time to kill this demonic Gu immortal. He attacked resolutely and killed this demon easily. However, the old city lord was kneeling on the ground, gazing at the city filled with ruins and corpses as he cried in sadness, this accursed demon is finally dead. My good daughter, the inhabitants of my city, you can rest in peace now, your hatred has been avenged. Disciple pays respect to master. I wonder what matter master has called me for. Hong Ting went up to Duke Long. Disciple, master has sensed fate. Floating Flower River is about to flood, the river channel has diverged. I want you to go save people. Remember, don't make a move early, you can only do so after 3 days and 3 nights. Duke Long instructed carefully. Yes, master. Hong Ting came to the floating flower riverbank and looked at the flooding river water. Countless living beings were forced to be homeless, while many drowned corpses were floating on the surface. He forcibly restrained his emotions and waited for 3 days and 3 nights. But at that time, he found that he did not even need to make a move, the river water retreated by itself, swamps appearing in many areas. A wild immortal Gu's aura emerged and was actually not far away from Hong Ting. Hong Ting easily subdued this wild immortal Gu. Great Gu, it is actually a rank 7-time path Gu which is perfect for me. Howl. The wild immortal Gu's aura attracted 2 ancient desolate beasts. Hong Ting's expression turned solemn as he concealed himself. He waited for these 2 ancient desolate beasts to kill each other. After one died and another was injured, he made his move, getting these 2 ancient desolate beast corpses easily. Wonderful, wonderful. Gazing at the traces of the battlefield, Hong Ting suddenly came to a realization. So it turns out this was fate's arrangement. With the battle of the 2 ancient desolate beasts, Floating Flower River has expanded by several times its width while its river channel has been dyed by the ancient desolate beast's blood, becoming much thicker. From now on, Floating Flower River will probably not flood again. There are also these plots of land beside Floating Flower River which will become extremely fertile as they are soaked in the essence blood and corpses of countless beings. In the future, the mortals who live here will truly be fortunate. Bull-headed demon brute, let go of my parents now, otherwise, I will make you suffer a fate worse than death. Hong Ting furiously glared at the bull-headed demonic immortal. The bull-headed demonic immortal held Hong Ting's parents in each of his hands, laughing loudly. Kid, you are very arrogant, you want to get rid of me? When I became a Gu immortal, you were still suckling milk as a baby. Are you scared now? Hong Ting had to restrain himself and could only shout in anger. Bull-headed demon brute quickly shouted, don't come over, don't be impulsive. Don't you want your parents' lives? If you come over, I will directly crush your parents' heads. What do you want? Hong Ting shouted. Bull-headed demon brute gave a malevolent smile, now we are talking. As long as you hand over my lifespan Gu, I will return your parents to you. If not, I only have a few days to live anyway, I will just die with your parents. Hong Ting was immediately dazed. According to fate's arrangements, those 2 wild lifespan Gu should indeed go to bull-headed demon brute. But Hong Ting saw his parents getting old and reaching their life's limit, so he seized those 2 lifespan Gu without telling Duke Long. Who could have thought that bull-headed demon brute would come and bring disaster to his parents? In an instant, Hong Ting's face became deathly pale and his forehead was filled with cold sweat. I have already used those 2 lifespan Gu. I know, you used them on your parents. Bull Demon was not surprised, but, you are Duke Long's disciple, a future immortal venerable who will lead Heavenly Court. I don't believe Heavenly Court's treasury does not have any lifespan Gu. Bring 300 years, no, 3,000 years lifespan Gu and I will release your parents. This. Hong Ting was now caught in a dilemma. In the end, through twists and turns, he finally forced bull-headed demon brute to retreat. But his parents were irrecoverably injured, even immortal methods could not heal them. Father, mother, I harmed you. If I had not taken lifespan Gu for you, you would still have several years left. Hong Ting knelt down and cried. Hong Zhu, however, smiled, son, life and death is up to fate, fortune is up to heaven. Humans have to die sooner or later, this world has long life but is there anyone who can live forever? No. We are fated to die, you don't need to feel sad for us. On the contrary, you should be happy for us. The 2 of us could have a son like you, a future immortal venerable, how great of an honor is this, we will definitely be noted down in history because of you. Madame Hong also said, my son, listen to your father, be a good person, you must be righteous. The old couple grasped each other's hands and died at the same time. Father, mother. Hong Ting howled towards the sky. Bright light accumulated in Hong Ting's eyes. Through the passing of time, experience and maturity made him full of manly charisma. The setting sun illuminated the lush green hill. Under the setting sun, he saw Lu Xian for the first time. Two pairs of eyes met each other, both felt their hearts pulsing, an indescribable atmosphere rapidly spread. Love at first sight. Lu Xian revealed a strange expression, asking softly, "Who are you?" Hong Ting, however, felt no surprise. He replied with a smile, "I am your fated husband, my name is Hong Ting." Lu Xian was astonished, "You are the future immortal venerable." "Don't be surprised, our encounter here was determined by fate." Love gave Hong Ting a feeling of satisfaction and bliss that he had never experienced before. He and Lu Xian always kept each other's company and had a lot in common. It was like they were born for each other, like a key to a lock, they were a natural couple. They roamed the world together, they conversed and dined under the moon. They had great chemistry, an eye signal to the other could express their inner heart and even convey all their intention to the other's mind. They were a true immortal couple, living together for hundreds of years. They supported each other in the path of cultivation, there was not even one fight or a moment where they were vexed at each other. Lu Xian accompanied Hong Ting all the way to rank 8 peak, and finally to rank 9 venerable realm. The tribulation was unimaginable, but Hong Ting still succeeded in the end. Duke Long was heavily injured due to this, several heavenly court Gu immortals perished, while Hong Ting held Lu Xian's gradually freezing body with tears all over his face. He tightly held Lu Xian, repeatedly saying, don't leave me, I beg you, please live. It's no use, I have been struck by the tribulation. Having a trace of my soul left to take a final look at you is already an enormous fortune. How could I possibly ask for more?" Lu Xian smiled. I am useless. I underwent tribulation but implicated you." Hong Ting's head was lowered with tears rolling down his eyes. "No, Hong Ting. That tribulation could only have been blocked by my special physique. Even if you all sacrificed your lives, you would only have failed. I was born with one of the 10 extreme physiques and encountered you, it was all fate's arrangement. In your fatal moment, I suddenly understood the greatest meaning of my life, it was to protect you, to block the tribulation for you and help you ascend to the position of an immortal venerable. Now, I have accomplished it." No. Xian, I would rather not be an immortal venerable, I only want you to live. Hong Ting roared helplessly, his body was shaking and his tears were falling. Everything and everyone in this world has its own respective fate, it is fixed. Hong Ting, you cannot have such thoughts, you need to live on properly, your fate is to become an immortal venerable, lead heavenly court and spread the glory of the righteous path throughout the 5 regions. Do you know? I had always been wanting to see that scene, standing by your side and accompanying you as you bring fortune to the world with invincible might. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see it. Lu Xian's life force gradually fell, until she died. Hong Ting's head was lowered and his back was bent deeply like an old man, a heavy shadow shrouded his face. At this moment, he seemed to have lost all signs of life. He was motionless like a statue. In his immortal aperture, the remaining heaven and earth chi gathered and merged, refining a rank 8 immortal Gu according to his current mental state. This Gu had the form of a centipede, its whole body was pale white like paper. Unlike centipedes, its legs were replaced by 100 feelers. Every feeler was translucent, gently floating in the air, agitating hearts and continuously raising the deepest regretful feelings. Rank 8 Regret Gu. Cough. Duke Long coughed out several mouthfuls of blood, he forcibly stood up and walked to Hong Ting's side. Lu Xian's death was not without meaning, it was worthy and valuable, there is no need for sadness, my dear disciple. This was all fate's arrangement. Now, you are already an immortal venerable, rank 9 venerables are extremely rare even in the long history of humanity. You still have a long life ahead, your mission has just started. I will abdicate my position, Heavenly Court as well as the 5 regions and 2 heavens need you. Hong Ting, Hong Ting. Duke Long softly called. Hong Ting slowly raised his head, he did not look at Duke Long, his gaze was still on Lu Xian's icy corpse. He replied lightly, I regret it. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1678, Immortal Venerable regrets, but I do not. Chapter 1678, Immortal Venerable regrets, but I do not. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. What did you say? Duke Long did not hear clearly. I said, I regret it. Hong Ting said again. Duke Long's brows immediately furrowed, using a stern gaze to look at his proudest disciple, regret. Oh Hong Ting, don't speak of such nonsense again. You are clear of it, how many people dedicated and sacrificed themselves to cultivate and support you until you reached your current cultivation level. If you say such things, would you be doing justice to those people who have helped you throughout your life? Would you be doing justice to your parents? Justice to your late wife Lu Xian? Justice to the immortals who helped you pass the tribulation and sacrificed themselves? Duke Long berated Hong Ting sternly. Alright, Lord Duke Long, Lu Xian's death is a great tragedy, we can understand Red Lotus Immortal Venerable's feelings. He is only in a temporarily agitated state. The other Heavenly Court Gu Immortals attempted to mediate. Red Lotus Immortal Venerable, hee. Hong Ting laughed with disdain, he gazed at Duke Long with his bloodshot eyes. If such sacrifices are required and there will be even more sacrifices in the future for this immortal venerable position, then I would rather not have it. Enough. Duke Long shouted in rage, I will not allow you to speak any more nonsense, Hong Ting. You think your immortal venerable position can be gained or abandoned at your will. This is all fate's arrangement, this is the mission of your life, you must accept it no matter what. Hong Ting laughed loudly, his hair was messy, he was in a miserable state. He lowered his head and looked at Duke Long, a grand immortal venerable, invincible in the world, actually cannot do as he pleases, he cannot even reject this immortal venerable position. Duke Long snorted coldly, tell me, Hong Ting, who can do as they please in this world? Your thoughts are too childish, you think becoming an immortal venerable and leading the righteous path would not need sacrifices. What is there in this world that has no price to pay for? How shallow do you think the words righteous path are? Wrong. Maintaining Heavenly Court's righteous path requires you to pay a price, it requires sacrifices. If you don't even have this sacrificial mentality, then I will tell you, you don't have the qualifications to enter Heavenly Court. Hong Ting's body shook. Lord Duke Long, Lord Immortal Venerable, please calm yourselves. We should recuperate and heal our injuries now instead of quarreling. The other Gu Immortals repeatedly tried persuading. Hong Ting slowly lowered his head, but his fists were slowly clenched tight as he said with an incomparably firm tone, I want to revive them. Duke Long's brows raised, his face cold as ice, who do you want to revive? Every person who sacrificed themselves for me. My parents, Lu Xian, and many others. Presumptuous. Duke Long suddenly shouted while pointing at Hong Ting, how could you have such a heretical thought? You know it clearly, I have also told you several times, life and death is determined by fate, life and death is the rule of the great Tao, any living being's life and death is arranged by fate. You want to revive the dead? Are you trying to send the entire world into chaos? Have you not learned yet? The more you think like that, the more cruel tragedies will happen around you. Even if there are crueler tragedies, I will accept them. Master, disciple always had a question. Why? Why must we accept fate's arrangements? If there was no fate, would the world truly fall into chaos? Is it not possible that the world will become a better place? Hong Ting asked in an anxious tone. Duke Long's body shook with anger, even the persuading Heavenly Court Gu Immortals slowly took a step back, looking at Hong Ting as if he was someone unfamiliar. Lord Immortal Venerable, your thought is too dangerous. Right, without fate, our human race would not be prosperous. Fate Gu is Heavenly Court's supreme treasure. Lord Immortal Venerable actually wants to destroy it. This. All of you. Hong Ting looked at the surrounding Gu immortals. He felt an indescribably deep loneliness at this moment. Time flowed, who knows how long had passed. A lonely figure appeared in the river of time. His hair was messy, his face was filled with the vicissitudes of life, like a man who had roamed the world but had no place to call home. His face still had the former Hong Ting's shadow, but his expression had already changed completely. Red Lotus Demon Venerable looked at the endlessly flowing river of time as he sighed, "It is time to leave behind my inheritance." He slowly descended, his feet stopped right before he touched the river of time. "This first Stone Lotus Island will also be the most important Stone Lotus Island. I will use Regret Gu as its core and leave this behind for the otherworldly demon, for the person who has the greatest hope of destroying fate." Thereupon, a Stone Lotus Island gradually appeared in this world. Red Lotus Demon Venerable left behind rank 8 Regret Gu here as well as a large amount of Time Path immortal materials, immortal killer moves, a portion of his true meaning that contained his true memories of a certain period of time, as well as an immortal killer move with an unparalleled effect. After finishing the arrangement, Red Lotus Demon Venerable flew away slowly with his exhausted body. Time flew by, who knows how long had passed. An outsider charged into this Stone Lotus Island. He was dressed in rough clothing, he had a thin-looking body and a bald head, he had an ordinary appearance. He was barefooted, his legs were even stained with some mud, like a farmer who had returned from a day of work in the fields. However, his face looked very young, his eyes were glistening brightly, filled with compassion and benevolence. Red Lotus True Meaning appeared, condensing into an illusory image of Red Lotus Demon Venerable who smiled towards the barefooted young-looking man. "Welcome, my honorary guest. I am Paradise Earth, I finally found this place after immense effort." This person was Paradise Earth, who had already become an Immortal Venerable. Red Lotus True Meaning directly asked, "Immortal Venerable, what is the purpose for your visit?" Paradise Earth smiled, "Senior Red Lotus, why ask when you already know?" Red Lotus True Meaning also smiled, "You are right, fate has only been damaged, not completely destroyed, so everything is still traceable and observable from the river of time." Pausing for a moment, Red Lotus True Meaning continued, "I can lend you Regret Gu, as for your intention to steal my inheritor, that will depend on your ability." Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable looked solemn, although he is an otherworldly demon, he is not an emotionless person. Put down the blade to reach redemption, it is never too late to turn back. Who does not want to seek redemption? I am willing to give it a try. Red Lotus True Meaning laughed, "All right. My main body still had some worries when constructing this island. After all, I am not entirely confident in defending against Heavenly Court. However, since you are taking action, then there is no worry. This is Regret Gu, catch it properly." Regret Gu flew over slowly. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable stretched his hands, which were covered in radiance, and carefully received it. It is indeed worthy of being Regret Gu, it constantly draws out boundless regretful feelings. Only a person with not even a little bit of regret is immune to this greatest flaw. Otherwise, any Gu immortal who approaches it will feel incomparable pain and regret. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable smiled bitterly, "If not for my rank 9 cultivation level, I might not be able to suppress it." Looks like you also have regret in your heart. Red Lotus True Meaning sighed. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable smiled lightly, "Who in this world does not have any regrets in their life?" Putting Regret Gu into his immortal aperture, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable bowed towards Red Lotus True Meaning solemnly, "I take my leave, I will definitely send him here." Fong Yuan slowly opened his eyes, the dazed expression slowly dissipated from his eyes. He went through this memory that Red Lotus Demon Venerable had left here and understood the cause and result of everything. "I never expected to directly arrive at the Stone Lotus Island." Red Lotus Demon Venerable and Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, even though both have already perished, their arrangements are still in effect. Fang Yuan sighed before looking at Red Lotus True Meaning as well as rank 8 Regret Gu that was already floating before him. Red Lotus True Meaning smiled, Fang Yuan, you are finally here. There is no need to say anything else, I believe you will try your best to destroy Fate Gu. So, accept my true inheritance, it has already waited for you for over 1,000,000 years. Comment. Fang Yuan nodded and extended his hand, trying to grasp Regret Gu. Red Lotus True Meaning reminded him quickly, careful, Regret Gu cannot be touched directly, otherwise even if you refine it, you will be drowned in endless regrets. I have already prepared a method for you, you only need. There is no need for that. Fang Yuan's expression was indifferent as he grabbed Regret Gu and instantly refined it. Red Lotus True Meaning was stunned, you. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1679, Red Lotus True Inheritance. Chapter 1679, Red Lotus True Inheritance. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. The surging river was always flowing from past to present to future. Fang Yuan stood at the edge of Red Lotus Stone Island, looking at the river of time with a tranquil expression and a deep gaze. The river of time could be said to be the most special secluded domain of heaven and earth. Because it traversed the entire world, without its existence and movement, the whole Gu Master world would become a still picture without any changes or vitality. Fang Yuan had seized Dang Hun Mountain and Luo Pa Valley, these two secluded domains of heaven and earth belonged to him, but he absolutely could not seize the whole river of time. This secluded domain of heaven and earth belonged to all beings of this world. Every beast, every grass, every rock, every drop of water, they all enjoyed the benefits derived from the river of time. Even Gu immortals could at most only possess a tributary of the river of time in their immortal aperture. The river of time was the collective wealth of the whole world. Every drop of the water of time was a transparent pale white. A gazillion droplets of water crashed, intertwined, collided, and spun each time, giving off a brilliant light show. Thus, the surface of the river of time was always covered in a thin layer of ever-changing radiance. This was the area with the greatest amount of time path Dao marks in the whole world, the largest congregation of time path. Fang Yuan stood at the edge of the island and saw several year beasts, a one-finger flow shark, and large numbers of time path wild Gu worms in just a short while of observation. The river of time was overflowing with vitality. Several days had passed since Fang Yuan arrived at this Red Lotus Stone Island. In this period of time, he had completely absorbed Red Lotus True Meaning, his time path attainment level soared rapidly, reaching an unimaginable height, Time Path Quasi-Supreme Grandmaster. With this attainment level, Fang Yuan had many new insights when he looked at the river of time. These feelings were not superficial, instead it pierced into the essence of the river of time, mesmerizing Fang Yuan the more he looked at it. Pinnacle profundities of the great Tao were in front of his eyes, quietly lifting a corner of a mysterious veil, allowing him to begin understanding this world and the principle of its operation. Although he gained Refinement Path Quasi-Supreme Grandmaster attainment previously, his experience at that time had not been as deep as now. After all, Fang Yuan was currently in the secluded domain of heaven and earth, river of time. Time Path Quasi-Supreme Grandmaster attainment level gave Fang Yuan comprehensive growth in all aspects. For instance, the mysterious immortal killer moved time cutting edge. Fang Yuan now had the ability to completely understand its essence and change the Gu worms involved, restoring its original might. Another example was Xianxia's Time Path Immortal Gu and Immortal Killer moves. Fang Yuan could now modify them and make them suited for himself. The greatest growth was in Time Path Immortal Gu recipes. With both Time Path and Refinement Path at Quasi-Supreme Grandmaster level, Fang Yuan had a very high assurance in modifying any Time Path Immortal Gu recipes and refining Time Path Immortal Gu. There was no doubt that Red Lotus True Meaning was the most valuable treasure. Below it was the rank 8 Immortal Gu, Regret. Not mentioning this Gu's legendary status, just based on its rank 8 level, its value was extraordinary. With this Gu worm, Fang Yuan now had 5 rank 8 Gu worms, Attitude, wisdom sword, years flow like water, soul beast token, and regret. Fang Yuan could now construct regret pool with no obstacles. Of course, difficulty was still there, but the greatest hurdle had become non-existent because of Regret Gu. Back when Red Lotus Demon Venerable arranged this true inheritance, he had deduced Fang Yuan's situation and thus prepared a large amount of time path immortal materials. With Regret Gu and time path immortal materials, Fang Yuan only needed to follow the procedures and spend some time to construct Regret Pool. He could even build an immortal Gu house better than Regret Pool. With all these, Fang Yuan could begin to refine Gu en masse. On one hand, he could refine a lot more time path immortal Gu, on the other hand, he could advance the rank of the immortal Gu he already had. These time path immortal materials left behind by Red Lotus Demon Venerable were of high rank, the lowest was rank 7 while there was a large amount of rank 8 immortal materials. Were Heavenly Court to see this, they would cough out a large mouthful of blood. They tried all methods to disturb Fang Yuan and obstruct him from purchasing time path immortal materials without hesitating on paying a huge price. This had indeed created huge trouble for Fang Yuan, but all their actions turned out to be of no use now. Red Lotus True Meaning, Rank 8 Immortal Gu Regret, large amounts of time path immortal materials, as well as immortal killer moves. Among the immortal killer moves, the greatest gains were immortal killer moves that used Spring Autumn Cicada as the core. The most important thing Fang Yuan cared about was the Spring Autumn Success Killer move. This move used several supplementary immortal Gu, and with the activation of Spring Autumn Cicada, its success rate would reach 100%. Simply using Spring Autumn Cicada had too low of a success rate, it also had the disadvantage of greatly decreasing luck. But although Spring Autumn Success Immortal Killer move still had the disadvantage of reducing luck, the failure rate was lowered to 0. With this move, Spring Autumn Cicada's practicality obtained an enormous boost. Fang Yuan had already decided to prepare this killer move. Almost all the immortal killer moves were in the form of information and required Fang Yuan to personally prepare them. But one time path killer move had been specially activated by Red Lotus Demon Venerable and left for Fang Yuan. The former rank 9 killer move, after over 1,000,000 years, had its power greatly reduced but was still effective. The name of this time path killer move, Future Self. This move relied on the River of Time and Red Lotus Stone Island. The Gu immortal user could temporarily borrow the use of a certain future state of his life. For instance, a Gu master who had only rank 5 cultivation, but in the future, would successfully pass his ascension tribulation and become rank 6. Under the use of Future Self, he could borrow the body of his future Gu immortal self and temporarily gain a Gu immortal's cultivation level. Even Fang Yuan was speechless at the mysterious and terrifying powers of this move. Unfortunately, this move had already weakened to rank 7 level and was of no use to Fang Yuan. In Red Lotus Demon Venerable's deduction, Fang Yuan would have rank 7 cultivation when he found this stone island. But Red Lotus Demon Venerable was after all not a Wisdom Path Immortal Venerable. Even if he were a Wisdom Path Immortal Venerable, there could still be flaws in the deductions. Especially in the situation when Fate Gu was injured and Luck Path emerged, everything had become much more difficult to predict. My cultivation is already rank 8, I can only give this future self-killer move to my subordinates. This can make up for their lack in strength and have the qualifications to participate in my battles. What a pity that I lost so much manpower before this. The complete content of Red Lotus True Inheritance was extremely plentiful and indeed worthy of being Red Lotus Demon Venerable's true inheritance. But Fang Yuan was still slightly disappointed. The thing he had most expected was some kind of method or a shortcut to pull a fast one and destroy Fate Gu. However, Red Lotus Demon Venerable did not leave behind such things. Even in the memory left by Red Lotus Demon Venerable, it only portrayed his experiences of becoming an immortal venerable and his regretful life later on. As for how he refined Spring Autumn Cicada or how he invaded Heavenly Court and injured Fate Gu, there were no memories of them. The memories had directly skipped to Red Lotus Demon Venerable constructing the Red Lotus Stone Island after becoming a venerable. What was the deeper meaning behind such an arrangement? Fang Yuan had inquired before he consumed Red Lotus True Meaning. The reply of Red Lotus True Meaning was, there was no shortcut to destroying Fate Gu. Even if Red Lotus Demon Venerable had exploited some kind of shortcut back then, that shortcut no longer existed now. Don't underestimate Heavenly Court. If there was any shortcut, be extra careful as it should be Heavenly Court's trap. As for why Red Lotus Demon Venerable did not leave behind more memories, Red Lotus True Meaning did not have an answer. He only gave speculation. He might not have wanted to point you towards a specific direction because it could easily lead to misunderstandings. Whether or not to destroy Fate Gu is your own choice. Fong Yuan asked, where are the other Red Lotus Stone Islands? Red Lotus True Meaning did not know. However, this reply was within Fong Yuan's expectation. If every Red Lotus Stone Island could mark the other islands' locations, they would have already been taken by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable or Heavenly Court. To prevent such a situation from happening, Red Lotus Demon Venerable specially constructed each Red Lotus Stone Island separately without the ability to sense the others' locations. Fate Gu must be destroyed. A Heavenly Court with or without Fate Gu were two completely different concepts. If Heavenly Court successfully restored Fate Gu, although Fong Yuan would not be bound by the shackles of fate, other people or beings in the world would be influenced or even manipulated by fate. At that time, Fong Yuan's enemies would be everyone and everything besides him. This was slightly exaggerated, but it was that serious. Another more important reason was that Fate Gu's existence was the greatest obstacle to Fong Yuan's pursuit of eternal life. Fate Gu did not allow revival, it stated that all living beings must die. Thus, no matter what, Fong Yuan would have to destroy Fate Gu. Red Lotus Demon Venerable might have already deduced this, so he was not worried about Fong Yuan's motivation. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1680, Advancing Immortal Gu. Chapter 1680, Advancing Immortal Gu. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Mini Central Continent. Dark clouds covered the sky as thunder rumbled and lightning flashed. Fong Yuan's time path clone was standing high in the sky, he was observing the Gu refinement process cautiously to prevent any accidents. Under the dark clouds, the originally wide plain was now filled with deep craters. Bolts of lightning struck the ground, smashing the earth and creating half-spherical craters. The soil inside the crater was refined into a ceramic-like structure with smoke rising up from them. The time is right, my main body should be making a move. The time path clone just had this thought when countless lightning bolts converged together into one enormous lightning bolt. Boom! The deep blue lightning bolt resembling a heavenly pillar struck a white boulder at the center of the plain fiercely. Instantly, the white boulder was split into pieces by the lightning bolt, countless fragmented rocks flew out everywhere. The lightning was incomparably fierce, it had suddenly converged together and vanished just as suddenly. The white boulder that was the size of a hill exploded, but a small Gu worm floated in the air. The Gu worm was in the form of a butterfly with various colors, it was man as before Immortal Gu. I finally succeeded after failing 6 times, not bad, not bad. Fong Yuan's time path clone was exulted upon seeing this. Man as before came from Tai by Yun Sheng, its origin could be traced back to Purple Mountain True Monarch. The original man as before Immortal Gu was only rank 6, which was only effective in healing rank 6 Gu immortals and had barely passable effects on rank 7, often failing in its activation. Its effect on rank 8 was even more abysmal. Fong Yuan could use it effectively because of his sovereign immortal body's characteristic, different kinds of Dao marks did not conflict with each other. But now that he was currently rank 8, rank 6 man as before was clearly too weak. But now, man as before Immortal Gu was successfully advanced from rank 6 to rank 7. Fong Yuan's time path clone inspected it carefully and soon discovered the difference between rank 7 man as before and the rank 6 version. They both had the shape of a butterfly, but the rank 7 man as before was much more dazzling. Moreover, there was a change in the butterfly's body, it looked like a tiny naked and pale person. Although rank 8 man as before was more suitable for Fong Yuan, he was currently satisfied with advancing it to rank 7. Refining rank 8 Immortal Gu would need countless cultivation resources which Fong Yuan currently did not have the ability to bear. Back then, old ancestor Shui, who had almost emptied out his accumulation to refine rank 8 fortune rivaling heaven, every member of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land had complained about it. What's more, old ancestor Shui, who had cultivated for much longer than Fang Yuan in this life. This was unless Fang Yuan spent his entire fortune like selling Dang Hun Mountain, Luo Pa Valley, Reverse Flow River, or Wisdom Gu to exchange for countless resources. But that was not worth the loss. Man as before might be a superior Gu, but it was not a crucial Gu worm like Spring-Autumn Cicada. Fang Yuan did not have the extravagant hope of refining rank 8 immortal Gu. He intended to advance most of his rank 6 immortal Gu to rank 7. Because of the high quantity and the difficulty of Gu refinement along with high failure rate, even if Fang Yuan invested all his current resources, it would hardly be enough. Fang Yuan had gained batches after batches of cultivation resources from the Grotto Heaven of the Five Xiangs, Qi Clan's Grotto Heaven, the Blue Dragon Whale Grotto Heaven as well as Red Lotus Stone Island. However, Gu refinement was a bottomless pit. No matter how much investment was done, it would never be high enough. Fortunately, Fang Yuan obtained Regret Gu, which he used to construct a refinement path Gu formation that allowed a small portion of the Gu refinement process to be done again if it failed. When Fang Yuan's time path clone took the rank 7 man as before immortal Gu, the dark clouds had already vanished. The refinement path Gu formation slowly activated, and along with the killer move self-cleansing, they cleaned the Dao mark traces left at the scene. Next is landscape as before. The time path clone thought. In the list of Gu refinement plans, man as before and landscape as before were at the top, but there were still a lot more left. For example, Day Gu, self-strength, pulling mountain, strength Qi, Vajra thought, star eyes, star thought. Unravel mystery immortal Gu was also important. After its rank was advanced, it could greatly increase the power of unravel dream, which was extremely beneficial in Fang Yuan's dream path cultivation. There were also dog shit luck, Qi luck, luck inspection, connect luck, and time luck. These luck path immortal Gu would also be an enormous help after they were advanced. Fang Yuan was lacking offensive methods in luck path, but its support function could not be neglected. Previously, Fang Yuan had used his luck path superiority to get rid of the pursuit of the multiple time path immortal Gu houses of Heavenly Court. Advancing the ranks of immortal Gu was all done by Fang Yuan's main body. The time path clone did not have enough qualifications because of low cultivation level. After receiving Red Lotus True Inheritance, Fang Yuan continued to stay in Red Lotus Stone Island. Besides him repeatedly refining Gu, Bai Ning Bing, He Lu Lan and so on were also moving around on the island. They exchanged pointers with each other and did their best to adapt to their future self. Under the effect of future self, their battle strength climbed to first rate or even the peak of rank 7. This was already the limit of the killer move. With his subordinate strength rising to this level, there would no longer be awkward situations like before. Next time Fang Yuan battled, these people would have the minimum qualification to take part in the battle. The regrettable thing was that Fairy Miao Yin, Lady White Rabbit, and Sixth Hare were dead. Although Fang Yuan still had several enslaved Gu immortals like Qi Clan's Gu immortals, these people were far less reliable than the former. They were bound by a slave agreement which could very well dissipate under the power of their future self. So, Fang Yuan did not intend to elevate them even though the future self-killer move could still be used on several more people. Advancing Immortal Gu became Fang Yuan's most important project and occupied almost all of his time. Occasionally, he used Fixed Immortal Travel's killer move to teleport to the Five Xiangs Grotto Heaven and continue refining the killer move Heaven form. Fang Yuan had already obtained the true inheritance and was the owner of this Red Lotus Stone Island, thus he could use Fixed Immortal Travel to travel back and forth. Before this Red Lotus Stone Island had been protected by Red Lotus Demon Venerable's strength, which prevented methods like Fixed Immortal Travel. This was the same situation as in the Immortal Aperture inside the Blue Dragon Whale. Fang Yuan had already tested it, but unfortunately, he was unable to return to the Dragon Whale Grotto Heaven with Fixed Immortal Travel. Also, Spring-Autumn Cicada might have reached rank 7, which expanded its detection range, but Fang Yuan did not go to look for other Red Lotus Stone Islands. Firstly, his current strength had not increased a lot, he still needed to process his gains. Secondly, Heavenly Court was also searching in the river of time, Fang Yuan would have to avoid them if he ran into them. Finally, Fang Yuan's rank 8 immortal essence reserve was still accumulating because advancing immortal Gu spent a lot of immortal essence. Time passed, several months went by quickly. Southern border. Boom. Earth tremored and mountains shook, rocks and stones flew in all directions as an earth trench appeared. The vast aura of a wild immortal Gu spread everywhere. This wild immortal Gu has finally appeared. In the clouds, 3 Gu immortals looked at the ground with smiles on their face. Alright, let's compete according to the agreement we set earlier. Yes. Earth veins are stirring more intensely and wild immortal Gu appear from time to time. We need to finish our battle quickly. The 3 Gu immortals fought fairly, the atmosphere was harmonious. The influence of Southern Border's Righteous Path Super Force Alliance was becoming increasingly larger. Previously, Wu Yong led the Southern Alliance but was unable to deal with Fang Yuan. Instead, Fang Yuan used the pretense of undergoing tribulation to plot a trap in 5 regional mountain range. But it was not like the Southern Alliance had no gains, they obtained Tao Zhu's true inheritance. After Lu Wei-yin rescued many Southern Border rank 7 Gu immortals from Fang Yuan's hands, he represented Paradise Earth's force and officially joined the Southern Alliance. It was perhaps due to Fang Yuan that the Southern Alliance's Righteous Path Gu immortals restrained themselves, as they had a common enemy. They were inwardly apprehensive that as Southern Border's earth veins fluctuated repeatedly and cultivation resources appeared one after the other, Fang Yuan might suddenly come to fight over them. So, Southern Alliance Gu immortals did not fight each other to death, instead their fights became controlled. Heavenly Court. Fairy Ziwei's brows rose up in joy when she heard the report. Dragon Palace has been found. This is good news. Lord Duke Long had all along been searching for it, and now, our Heavenly Court has discovered the immortal Gu House Dragon Palace. Dragon Palace was an extremely powerful immortal Gu House, even Heavenly Court placed great importance on it. This immortal Gu House has a deep relationship with Lord Duke Long, I should tell him this news first. When Duke Long obtained this news, he immediately brought Feng Jin Huang to Heavenly Court and handed her over to Fairy Ziwei to look after. Several days later, Duke Long returned without anything. Fairy Ziwei was surprised. Duke Long was extremely powerful. In this current world, what methods could actually obstruct him? Dragon Palace is actually surrounded by a layer of Dream Realm, I cannot enter it. Duke Long sighed. Fairy Ziwei immediately understood the reason. After hearing this reply, she consoled Duke Long. Lord Duke Long, you do not need to worry, the formation is already ready, it can use the strength of the whole of Heavenly Court's Grotto Heaven to suppress Spectral Soul. We will soon obtain his Dream Path research results. Duke Long laughed joyfully and said, good, 3 times. Spectral Soul's Dream Path research results naturally referred to the pure Dream Reality Seeker physique. With this method, Heavenly Court could condense dream realms into pure Dream Reality Seeker physique bodies. The dream realm surrounding Dragon Palace would be easily removed. That demon Fang Yuan has made no move recently? Duke Long asked. Fairy Ziwei shook her head. Ever since he escaped from the River of Time, there has been no news of him. Currently, all 5 regions are facing frequent movements of earth veins, with Southern Border situation being the greatest. Countless cultivation resources are being churned out. I really hoped he tried to loot these resources and gave us the opportunity to track him. But unfortunately, it is like he has completely disappeared. I have been using wisdom path methods to analyze every bit of information but have not been able to find his traces. Duke Long nodded. Continue to pay attention to him. Even though this demon has reached rank 8, he has to face stronger calamities and tribulations now. This will definitely give him a headache. Although he can annex apertures with the sovereign immortal body, he needs rank 8 Grotto Heavens to skip grand tribulations. Furthermore, there is still the even more terrifying Myriad Tribulation. Even Fairy Ziwei felt her heart palpitate when she heard the mention of Myriad Tribulation. She nodded with a smile. Lord Duke Long is right, Fang Yuan might have advanced to rank 8, but how many rank 8 grotto heavens are there for him to annex? His cultivation won't change much within a short period of time. Currently, Fang Yuan lacks resources, especially time path resources. It will be almost impossible for him to face the arrangements we made in the River of Time. That means he will have no chance at getting Red Lotus true inheritance. Although he escaped before, his immortal essence expenditure was extremely huge and nearly all his trump cards were exposed. He needs to quickly accumulate rank 8 immortal essence, because relying on immortal essence stones has too low efficiency. He can only rely on his immortal aperture's self-production. But the immortal aperture's self-production requires time. If he quickens the rate of time of his immortal aperture, he will also accelerate the arrival of his calamities and tribulations as well. Once he has no more immortal apertures to annex, he will have to face tribulations. The time he undergoes his tribulation will be the time our heavenly court takes his life. Fairy Ziwei's eyes glistened brightly when she said this. Duke Long nodded, looking at Fairy Ziwei with praise. With you taking charge of heavenly court, I am at ease. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible.